One of the most common questions I get is this: do I really need a master's degree to grow in my career? And if I do, when is the best time to get one? So today I want to take a step back into my journey through the graduate school, from applying to graduation, and share with you what it actually did for my career, my leadership growth, and my thinking. Welcome to Tech Signals, where we decode signals that shape careers and leadership. This video is part of my mini-series on my journey in tech. And today we're taking on the graduate school, not from a theoretical perspective, but from my lived experience. When I started thinking about a graduate school, it wasn't because I was stuck or because I fell behind. It was because I wanted depth. And this was during the third year of my university days. I was in my 300 level at the time, so I already knew I had the technical skills. But I wanted stronger thinking, I wanted stronger structure, I wanted stronger perspective. I had some key points that were driving my interest. I had the desire to strengthen my business thinking because I knew I had some technical skill set at that time. So I wanted to strengthen my business thinking. I had curiosity about leadership. I had curiosity about systems, complex systems. I had curiosity about strategy. Then I saw the gap between doing the work and understanding the business reason behind the work I'm doing. You can give me a project to do as a CEO. I'll go ahead and do the project. I go ahead and get it executed. But then what's the business reason? How does it tie into the bigger picture? I did not have an idea. So graduate school for me wasn't just for the title. It was about sharpening how I think about how I make decisions. The application process to the graduate school in itself was an exercise. I would say it was an exercise in self-awareness, because you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? You have to talk to yourself. Think about all this, balancing the work, life, and your education, because depending on the stage of life, you will most likely either just be coming out of school or you're already working. You already have a family. You already have commitments in the community. You already have personal commitments. Then you have to think about the cost of the graduate school. Graduate school is not cheap. So are you trying to get a scholarship, or do you have a grant, or are you going to use your employer-sponsored tuition reimbursement? And then you have to think about time commitment and the ROI, the return on investment. What have you seen other people who went before you, who actually went for the program that you're going for? What have they gained from it, coming out of it? 5-6 years after the graduate school, how do you see their life improve? So you have to look at potential return on investment. And then you have to be honest with yourself. Is it about growth, or is it about the credentials? Are you going there to actually grow as a person, or you just want a credential, you just want a master's degree? If your only reason is because it's going to look good on your resume, I'm going to tell you this right now. That usually is not going to be enough to sustain you through the program. It's not going to be enough to sustain you through the process. Take that from me. Graduate school really stretched me. It was not easy because it forced me to think differently. Now, do you really need a master's degree? Here's the honest answer. No, not everyone needs a master's degree. A master's degree is not a requirement for success. Experience, execution, results, and outcomes matter deeply in this day and age. A master's degree is just a tool. It is not a guarantee for success. The real question isn't, do you need a master's degree? I think the real question you should ask yourself is, what problem am I trying to solve by getting one? What problem am I trying to solve by getting one? When is the best time to get a master's degree? In simple terms, there are two options. Either you get it directly after your bachelor's program, or you go work for some years, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years before you go back to school for a graduate program. Now, each option have their pros and cons. If you go immediately after the bachelor's program, you have that academic momentum still going for you. Already used to studying, to being in the library, to writing articles, to writing all these projects. You have that momentum going for you, so it makes life a lot easier for you to continue. You have fewer life obligations because you're just coming out of college. Really, most of the time, don't have any dependents. You're not married. You're as free as you can get. Just continue with life. It's cool. Also, you have a faster way to stack your credentials. You have a faster credentials stacking, for the lack of a better term, because you got your bachelor's and then 2 years later you got your master's. That helps you to stack those credentials faster than anyone else. So if you get into the workforce, you can easily take advantage of that credential within a very short period of time because you already got it. So what someone who went to work and is just working for 5, 6, 7, 8 years has not gotten, you already have it. So if an opportunity comes up tomorrow and requires a master's degree, you have one. You have a few years of experience. You can make a case for that. And in most companies, a master's degree is always seen as 2 years work of 2 years of work experience. Now to the cons. The cons are not things you can't control because you don't have the experience. So in graduate school, you will be faced with challenges. You'll be faced with projects. You'll be faced with real world projects that you have to solve. Because of the fact that you have limited real world experience, you will obviously have limited real world context to apply to these problems, to solve them. Now, you can, get over this all by leveraging your colleagues, your professors, watching videos and learning through others' experiences. But this is time you could have spent on doing something more productive. And then also, because of that, it makes it harder for you to apply deep concepts because you have not lived the experience. You have not been around where those experiences are felt. So you find it more difficult to apply concepts. Now, if you go to the graduate school to get a master's degree after 6, 7, 8, 10 years of working, the pros for you are that you have real world context. So when problems are presented, when projects are presented, you can easily apply your experience. It makes it a lot easier for you to solve problems. And when you ask questions in class or within the group, you ask from a place of information, from a place of knowledge, not from a place of ignorance. So you actually ask stronger questions. You ask much stronger questions, and you have better connection between theory and practice. Now, to the cons, time is something that you will have to continuously fight with throughout the program, because when you have been working, have commitments in the society, have commitments in the family, have other commitments, and then you have your school, you have your work. All these are fighting for the same 24 hours, and you have to sleep. So you will have to fight these time and try to balance it between all these responsibilities of yours. So time is going to be of essence. Family and work, you have to balance your time. Then the higher opportunity cost. The fact that you waited so long before you went back to school to get your master's degree. Obviously, if there's a position that requires a master's degree, you are not qualified. If someone gets out of college, gets it immediately, and decides to, and only works 2, 3 years or 4 years, and you've been on the job for 8 years, if this person has a master's degree, obviously they are considered. If the requirement is a master's degree required, you will not be considered. So the higher opportunity cost is always going to be there for those that leave school after bachelor's, work for 8 to 10 years, and then go back to school. For leadership growth, this is from my own perspective. We don't have to all see things different the same way. I have seen people get more value when they have some real world experience before graduate school. But that doesn't make it the right choice for everyone. You know what works for you, so just stick with it. And here's the leadership signal most people miss. The graduate school does not automatically make you a leader. It can accelerate leadership if you pair it with experience, if you pair it with reflection and intentional growth. Leadership is about judgment. Leadership is about influence. Leadership is about outcomes. Education supports that. It doesn't replace it. So before you decide on going to graduate school, ask yourself these questions. What skill gap am I trying to close? How will this help me create more value when I get out of graduate school? What does leadership look like for me in the future? Education should serve your direction. It should not define it. Graduate school for me was an important chapter in my journey. but it was just a chapter. So whether you go now or you go later or you decide not to go at all, what matters most is intentional growth. Always strive to be better than yesterday. Always try to be better than the day before. We cannot all be the same because we don't have the same background. I came to the United States of America from Nigeria for my graduate school. I had to deal with the culture shock, with the people shock, with the structure shock. But you know what kept me going? The motivation. What motivated me to actually apply kept me going throughout the program. I graduated in flying colors, got my first job, and here I am today. So make that decision. Either you want to go, if you're not yet out of college, if you want to go directly to your master's program, or you want to work for some years, if you're already working and you want to go back to school, make that decision. Once you make that decision, go for it. Time waits for no man. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video with your friends, with your colleagues. I'll see you in my next video.